A sour smell invaded my nostrils. The smell of decay, of ancient dust, of death. The flashlight had landed beside me on the concrete floor. I followed its beams of light toward the wall and gasped. The light stopped on a hand. A human hand. Or was it? The hand was attached to an arm. The arm hung stiffly from an erect body. My hand trembling, I grabbed up the flashlight and tried to steady the light on the figure. It was a mummy, I realized, standing on its feet near the far wall. Eyeless, mouthless, and bandaged face seemed to stare back at me, tense and ready, as if waiting for me to make the first move.
You can't scare me, not with the basement of botany. Maybe a sentient dummy calling all creeps. Boo dudes,
Hello?
welcome to episode number 5, in which we'll be talking about the curse of the mummy's tomb. And thanks, as always, for taking the RL time to be with us.
Yeah.
I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
Here with Dave. And we're going to fill up your ears.
I'm super excited about mummies.
Me too.
I really like mummies.
It's been too long since I thought about Brendan Fraser. And now we
Oh.
can really celebrate him.
Speak for yourself. Brendan Fraser is just always a part of my life.
They had that unfortunate Tom Cruise movie.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Was that supposed to be connected to the old movies?
That was actually supposed to be the opening up of the universe, the Universal Monster Universe, which this is the second time in the past 5 years they've tried to do that. You remember that really bad Dracula movie that came out like 4 years ago?
No.
That was supposed to That was supposed to open up. Then there was a werewolf one that they did with and I'm just still waiting for my Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Also, nothing touches Boris Karloff, original Mummy. He was so spooky.
Right.
He was just able to move so slowly.
Yeah.
And that's
Old movies too. Old monster movies are inherently creepy.
I love Universal monster movies. But mummies, they don't get their due. To make the mummy scary, they had to like turn him into bugs, and then he became a cloud, like with a big mouth.
Yeah.
So he could eat planes.
He was scary. What stuck with me when I was a kid was when he was filling his body by killing people and absorbing their energy or whatever. He went from a skeleton to like a more fleshed out person. He at one point would put on muscle, and then at one point he would like put on flesh. And
then The Rock came and decided to fight him.
It was Fast and the Furious 8, I think.
I think that was it.
But
R.L. Stine actually agrees with us. I think mummies are really cool. I was looking for very good words to say there, but mummies fucking rule.
They are cool. Were you scared of like mummies and curses when you were a kid? Did you think they were like Egypt and ancient Egypt was inherently creepy?
Oh yeah.
I was really spooked by it. I would hear like, they uncovered part of King Tut's tomb or something like that, and like a bunch of there's like stories about a bunch of the archaeologists dying at like within a week of uncovering the tomb.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
It's great.
Makes you think.
Well, R.L. Stine actually said this in the interview. As we always state, Matt Ryan's reading from his private library of original
That's right.
Goosebumps.
Don't touch them.
I'm popping into the new stock so that we get these little special features. So, ROS, our buddy, said this. I think mummies are scary because we know they're real. Many of us have seen a mummy in a museum or on TV. When you see them all wrapped up or when you see the painted faces of the mummy cases, it isn't hard to imagine them coming to life and reaching out and grabbing you. Wait a minute. Now I'm scaring myself. Oh, Bob.
So jovial.
But that's what I like about mummies too, because those are really, really old, preserved, ancient dead people.
Yeah.
And we get to go look at them in museums.
Yeah. And their innards are pulled out sort of grotesquely.
Which they discuss in this book a bunch. But I think that's very cool. Like, you can't just go to a museum and just see, like, Princess Diana's wrecked body.
Right. Yeah. Wrapped up in, what do they use, linen?
I don't know. Whatever the leather of the car seat. I have no idea.
Seatbelts?
Yeah. But, like, you know what I mean? It's
John.
not like that. But it's okay. She got a Beanie Baby out of it. It's very different that we put these on pedestals, literally, and you can go see a mummy at any point, and it's
Right.
these dead rulers that were so important that
Right.
they would bury the people around them with them.
Yeah.
And they had these giant monuments to their death, and they basically just ran everything. Whether they were tyrants or they were good, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
They just got big cat people sitting in it and stuff. And Egypt really is only known for that. I mean, there's
Right.
so much, and politically, a lot has happened in Egypt, and they got a real big river. But I
Yeah.
mean, if it's not the Bible, it's mummies. And these people were ahead of their times when it comes to their cave paintings, their written language. They believed in aliens. They loved cats. So we get a little bit of all that. Also, Cleopatra. Do you know that she invented the first, or people before her, the first vibrator was invented for Cleopatra?
Really?
Yeah, it was a tube full of bees.
Oh. How crafty.
So anytime a listener is afraid a condom's going to break, imagine.
Masturbating with bees.
If
If I could be so lucky.
Let's get
If I
time
could be so lucky.
Oh, that's a good one. So let's get time and place.
Cool. We're in January now, right? 1993?
We're in January 1993, Curse of the Mummy's Tomb.
Wow.
So the song, a banger, I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston.
That is a banger.
That is so good. If you ever want to alienate everybody at karaoke, do that.
Yeah.
I've done
That
it
was,
once. It's a very long song, and it's funny at the very beginning. Then everyone has to strap in because you're about to disappoint
a lot of
everybody.
Deep breaths in
Oh,
that
yeah.
song. That's the Bodyguard soundtrack,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Then really interesting. I don't know if you remember last week we said Aladdin was runner-up to Home Alone 2.
Sure.
So Aladdin, actually, after its 5th week of release, was the top movie of this month.
Hell yeah.
So Aladdin was like a sleeper hit. It came out and just sat there, and then just rose up and just. I don't know if movies these days do that. You basically have that first release. You have that Thursday during the day, technically midnight release, but it's kind of
There's
unprecedented.
no resurgence. Unless it's like Oscar season and something wins something and then people go see it again.
And how topical that Aladdin is pushing to the top during with the Curse of the Mummies came out. So
right on.
January 8th, Letterman is offered The Tonight Show by NBC.
Oh, how nice.
Isn't that cool?
1993 also, wasn't that Conan O'Brien's first year? Or 94 or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then this one kind of upset me, so I just put it on there. On January 18th, Martin Luther King Day was observed by all 50 states for the first time.
Ooh.
That's
too
real
recent.
late. That's
Yeah.
way too recent, but...
Well, that's like, I mean, if you think about, I mean, that's super recent, but the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964. It's like, when
Which
you
is
think
also,
about that.
Yeah, but like the gap, that's literally 30 years.
Right, yeah.
That's insane.
So that's not great.
Yeah.
But all of that stuff, everything is way
We're
too
always
recent.
moving forward, which we'll say there's some problematic things
In this book, sure.
book as well. But
it chooses not to, well, we'll talk about it.
so here's some. Actually, I want to first shout out one of our readers, somebody who shot us an email. Which sorry I didn't see your email right up front because I never thought anyone would email
We just
us.
assume no one will contact us.
But it's awesome. So Kyle Klutz is he reached out to us to let us know that so we brought up the question that is Goosebumps a shared universe in our first episode.
Right.
So he said that Goosebumps is a shared universe. The original 62 vaguely hint at this, but in the Return to Horrorland series in 2000, it's confirmed. The original Horrorland kids are watching a paranormal investigation show where Evan Ross recounts the events of Monster Blood 2. Later on, when the Goosebumps Horrorland series was released, the characters from past books journey to Horrorland and interact with each other. Unfortunately, this is accomplished by retconning certain details and changing the time frame of the originals, but it's a really cool idea. And then he said he liked the podcast, so thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle. Boo dude to you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kyle, everyone else, you should review us, send us messages, questions, anything like that. Kyle's our favorite right now. You guys all suck. No, we like you, just not as much as Kyle.
Well, Kyle did the extra credit.
Yep. I'm going to write Kyle's name on my heart. And
it is cool to have a dialogue about the books. That's what we want.
That's what we want. But that goes into what I wanted to say, that this is the first book that features a widowed parent.
Uncle Ben.
Sorry, Uncle Ben. They don't go into this, but sorry, her mother passed away when she was 5. But they only go into that in the sequel, which is called Who's Your Mummy? And it's the reason that the version I have here was reprinted. They reprinted this because it's a sequel.
Okay.
But that's interesting, where it's shown but not told.
No, they never mention.
They never mention anything.
Once.
It's just they're always together, and because the Uncle Ben is working in Egypt, she has to come along.
Yeah.
They don't say why, but he digs into it later, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, digs into it. Nice pun.
Oh, I didn't mean to, but
he's like a scientist, archaeologist type. Yeah, nice.
Well, now that I've wrapped all that up, see, that was on purpose. Damn, this is a good podcast. We're killing it. Yeah, so
cool. So we can talk about the plot,
or we could play a game.
Let's play a game.
After everybody who told us that they love the games from last one, it was nobody. Because it hasn't come out yet. It'll come out tomorrow. But I'm going to show you some hieroglyphics that I wrote using the fun little facts at the end of this book, and you're going to tell me what they say.
Okay.
All right. So this one is pyramid, pointy oval, bird, Charlie Brown squiggle, mitten, laying down dog, 2 lines.
Okay. Now, for the listeners, I have no key.
I have the key, and you're not allowed to see it. You should know just from reading it.
Okay. So, pyramid, pointy oval, bird, Charlie Brown squiggle, mitten, buffalo. What is that? A bull?
It's like a sitting dog.
Oh, sitting dog. And parallel lines. Winter bird fucks dog and teepee.
It's actually Grundle.
Oh, I went for the sentence in that case. Grundle, of course.
But now that you know this is Grundle, you can use those context clues to figure out the other ones. So,
okay.
All right. So this one is another word. It is snail, bigger bird, pointy oval, half circle, 2 lines, pointy oval.
Come blast.
That is farter. Which you would have remembered. Pointy oval is an R.
Okay.
That's an E.
Oh, that's
this
fair.
one uses no letters that you've known before. So it's a 4-letter word. It is square, feather,
ball,
and 2 little shepherd sticks.
Okay. Actually, not ball. I'll rescind my guess.
2 shepherd sticks.
Dong.
It's piss. That's how. I hope you guys are writing this down.
Okay.
Here's our last one.
So we have Grundle, farter, piss.
Piss.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, they're not making a sentence or anything. And this is the final one. Dick. It's like 2 balls and like a schlong on it. That's a real one. I didn't make that up.
What is it supposed to be?
It's like 2 balls and like a schlong.
Right. Right. But like, per the ancient Egyptians, what do you think that was?
It is a dick.
Okay.
Also, I already fucked it up because that's SH.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually said the word already. It's SH, which is the dick, sitting down dog, little fishing rod, Charlie Brown squiggle.
Schlong.
It's schlong.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Well, now that you learn the language, let's dip into the book.
Amazing. I did have a game that I wanted to play, but it's not really a game. It's just 14 facts about Brendan Fraser. But let's not do that. Because I read through them and they're not that interesting. It was like Brendan Fraser.
You hear that, Brendan?
It was like Brendan Fraser didn't pay alimony. I was like, well, that's more sad than interesting.
So a thing about this book too, going into it, I did a little more research on Egypt, and we get the city streets, we get a couple different things, like nobody knows how to drive, really interesting facts there. But something I learned about Egypt that a lot of people may not know is where the pyramids are located.
Yeah, where are they located?
So you usually see pictures like this. I'm going to show you a picture. What do you see?
A pyramid in the desert.
All right, now what do you see when I uncover that?
Oh, Pizza Hut.
So this is a picture taken inside of a Pizza Hut of the pyramids.
Okay.
That's the Pizza Hut backwards of the front window of a Pizza Hut.
Wait. I don't understand.
So this is a photo taken inside
Right.
of a Pizza Hut.
Oh.
And that's
facing the fucking pyramids? This is an Egyptian Pizza Hut?
This is an Egyptian Pizza Hut facing the pyramids. That's how close the city is.
Oh my god.
So, of course, when you think about the pyramids, and you've seen every movie, you think Aladdin when they go to the Cave of Wonder, you get on a camel, you go through this arduous trip, but the city is like around the pyramids.
Right. It is so close. You can throw a rock.
Yeah, they just take these pictures, or you could throw a pizza.
Or a limestone.
So I see someone's been reading this book.
That's right.
But the pyramids are surrounded by this sprawling city.
Yeah, it's insane. The Sphinx is there too in the mix.
Isn't that crazy? That's a photo. It was big on Reddit. It's a photo of the pyramids from a Pizza Hut.
I really want to go to this Pizza Hut.
Me too.
That would be great.
It'd be really good.
Do you think it's like the 90s Pizza Hut with the roof where you can go in and get the salad bar and everything? Or do you think it's like Pizza Hut to go? Because most Pizza Hut locations are just like in and out, you know?
I don't know. I mean, with this one, it's kind of a destination.
We can
Pizza
call
Hut.
them.
We should.
I'm going to work. I'm going to look for the worst Brendan Fraser fact real quick.
Okay.
He's an accomplished photographer.
How do you become an accomplished photographer? Like, I've never seen his photo. Like, what did he accomplish?
During his stint as a guest performer on the sitcom Scrubs, Fraser's character carried an instant Polaroid camera everywhere and constantly snapped photos. He actually collects those old Polaroid cameras and admits to being a, quote, camera geek in his personal life. His photography can be viewed on his personal website. In personal website, the words are linked. He's fluent in French. I'm going to do 2 facts.
Okay.
Not that interesting. The explanation. Anyway.
So I think the fun fact is like...
What did he do at a restaurant?
Which... Can you recount that story that our producer just...
Can you come over here and say that?
Yeah, but that's enough of the story.
Can you just say what you said? All right.
All right, so producer Chib, Matt's wife, would you like to recount her story she yelled from the other room?
She said that he caused a scene at a restaurant. And when we pushed this, she said that he said, "I'm Brendan Fraser," and went crazy at a restaurant.
Which is a scene.
That's a scene for sure.
To show up and be like, "Hey, can I get in?" They're like, 15 minutes to this Olive Garden. And he's just, "But I'm Brendan Fraser."
I was in The Mummy. And Monkey Bone.
He was in Monkey Bone. Encino Man.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he broke. George of the Jungle.
Yes.
Dudley Do-Right.
Dudley Do-Right. That's what I was thinking about. It's like, it's not Dr. Dolittle.
Well, if you want to see any of those movies, I believe all 4 are packaged together at a Walmart somewhere for $4.
Yeah. You could also just put a gun in your mouth.
I'm laughing like an old man now. I don't smoke, but apparently I do.
You have to cough when you laugh.
I have to cough when I laugh now. It's nuts. Maybe we should get to this book. We're
all
good
right.
20 minutes in. We're not. We'll get a lot to cut.
It's fine, yeah. Let's talk about the plot.
Chapter 1 made me the angriest person in the entire world.
We've encountered our worst character to date, right?
Evan is like a saint compared to this kid.
Yeah. Gabe.
12-year-old
Gabe.
I fucking hated Gabe before I learned his name. You
Yeah.
don't learn his name until chapter 2. Chapter 1, first person book, by the way.
Yeah.
You're in his head. He tries to say like, well, but it's like, fuck this kid.
It makes it worse because you're hearing his thoughts and all his thoughts suck.
Yeah. I never rooted for a child to die in anything from before basically the plot started. But if this kid died and they just picked a new character, like I was rooting for the Mummy from page 1.
Yeah. Well, the first note that I have out of all of my notes is Gabe thirsty now. And then in parentheses, I wrote asshole. And from asshole, I have like 4 or 5 arrows with different instances of why he's a huge piece of shit. So on page 1, he says, "Mom, I'm really thirsty." And she says, "Not now." And it says, "Not now?" ? What does "not now" mean? I was thirsty. In italics, it says "now!" !
So this kid, he states that he is thirsty 13 times in
Really?
7... No, what, is it 13? I think it's 15 times in
Jesus.
7 pages.
Yeah.
And he's a dick about it. The first sentence of this book is, I saw the Great Pyramid and got thirsty.
Yeah.
Which, like, nowadays with internet speak, it would mean that he's, like, ready to kiss. But it does not. And then she said something about, like, stop acting like you're 4, you're 12, remember? And he says, 12-year-olds get thirsty too, I mutter.
Yeah.
All this sand in the air is making me gag.
Yeah.
Then he went to Dad and told him he was thirsty 100 times. And then he's a dick to Dad.
Oh, does he say I'm not blind? Or does he say that to his mom?
He says that to his mom.
Yeah, that was fucked up. Yeah, do you see the camels? Mom asked. I'm not blind, I replied. It says, yeah, you're right. It says being thirsty always puts me in a bad mood.
So, Gabe and his family are Egyptian. This is their heritage.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad own a refrigeration business, and they're just lucky enough to have business over Christmas break in Egypt, where Uncle Ben, who is an Indiana Jones, is deep in the pyramid.
That's true.
Who is taking a look at what is now a newly discovered hallway or something, a new part of the pyramid, and he's brought along his hot daughter, which is so weird because they always say like she's real hot and like she knows it, but every single time they talk about how like she knows she's good looking and stuff, it's always her cousin saying it, which is always
right.
super uncomfortable.
Well, he has a real inferiority complex.
He really
throughout
does.
this book.
With everybody, he is just so in his own head.
Yeah.
It's I hate this kid.
With her in particular, he does. I say this genuinely. I've said before that I think Evan. I said he has like a fragile or toxic masculinity problem, but Gabe has the most fragile masculinity I've ever seen. He needs to prove himself constantly. He sees himself as inferior or victimized by his cousin.
He's such a wimp too.
He is.
He's the kind of person where he wants everything but can't back it up and doesn't try.
Right. Yeah, and he projects that onto his cousin and says like, she always has to be the first one to do X and Y, and she thinks she's better than me because I'm not doing X and Y, and it's like you should just be better.
And he's so privileged at this point too. He's getting to see one of the greatest wonders of the world.
Yeah,
on his winter break, on vacation with his family.
Yeah,
and it's his heritage. This is something where he came from, and if I was 12 and got to see the pyramids, I'd be pumped.
You'd be blown away, yeah.
All he does is complain, and then he just shits on his parents.
Yeah.
It's like they talk about how heavy each limestone brick is. Dad says, it says here that some of the blocks weigh up to 1,000 pounds. He says, whoa. I said, that's more than you and Mom put together.
Yeah, he exploits his dad's insecurity.
And then he also says, like, Dad is really insecure about his weight.
Yeah.
He's chubby.
Right. And he
what
says,
a shitty kid.
He doesn't make some comment. Yeah, he says his stomach got in the way of his picture or something like that. Like his stomach got in the way of him moving around. I forget what it is.
It's whatever. He's like, Dad is fat.
Yeah,
and I'm an asshole.
Right. But you're right. He takes it for granted. He doesn't really care about the pyramids or where he is or what's happening, the cultural connection to his family and his heritage. With the pyramids and then the Nile, right? On page 8, he says, a river's a river.
Because he couldn't play Tetris on his Game Boy while driving by the river. They're like, listen, we're giving you this incredible experience as a family that we want you to cherish forever. And he's just like, hey, fuck that. I have Tetris for Game Boy.
Yeah. All he cares about in Egypt is soda, right? He makes a comment.
That I wrote down. That pissed me off so much.
He's like, at least they have good soda in Egypt. There's a lot of ice in it.
Okay, if you guys aren't just furious right now, like if I was in my car listening to this, I'd just be punching my dashboard and screaming. This is what this kid says. Imagine that you guys got to go to Egypt right now, free of cost, because your parents are refrigerator mavens. And he says, I'll say one nice thing about Egypt. The Coke tastes just as good as the Coke back home.
Oh, right.
It's the real classic Coke, too, not the other kind. This is a Make America Great Again stupid motherfucker, and I hate him.
For sure.
Just that he's saying, he's like, First of all, let me explain why this place doesn't suck, because one thing's like America. Fuck you. Fuck you, little boy.
Yeah. While we're talking about Tetris too, the Nintendo spiel on page 12 is horrible. It's a real point in the circle of him being an asshole. When
Oh, yeah.
he says that his cousin's name is Sari, Sari.
One letter different from Shari.
Yes,
From last
from
book.
Say Cheese. Evan, I'm gonna conflate Evan and Gabe a lot
Because they both suck.
because they both suck. But
There's
Gabe
a
is
ring
worse.
of hell they'll share.
For sure. But Gabe says, Sorry thought she was really hot stuff because she couldn't get to the last level of Super Mario Land. Or she could get to the last level of Super Mario Land. But it wasn't fair because I don't have Super Nintendo, only regular Nintendo. So I never get to practice. It's like, fuck off.
I liked this thing too. Like when I wrote about Shari, it says, hot cousin and she knows it. Smart / stuck up. She's a Super Nintendo wizard who wants the flu.
Wait, does she want the flu?
There's this one line that I love where it says, Sari is the most competitive person I know. She has to be the first and the best at everything. If everyone around is catching the flu, she has to be the first one to catch it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure she loves getting the flu, you fucking idiot.
What an asshole. What
Yeah.
like a terrible thing to say.
Yeah, he's a dumbass.
Fuck him.
So fuck Gabe. So they get back to their hotel after they see the pyramids, and they just take like a perfunctory.
Nile.
Yeah, they do, like what are you gonna do when you first get to Egypt if you're there for historical value? You're gonna go to the pyramids, see the Nile, whatever. They go back to their hotel.
Wait, where was her hotel?
Cairo.
Yeah, where did they drive from?
I don't know.
I'm surprised they drove from Al Jizza. Which I feel like if you were a rapper, that would be your name. You would be Al Jizza.
That is true. I didn't make that connection. I think it's Al Giza, right?
Nah. I like mine better.
Yeah. So they drive back from Comptown, and
Sportsville.
they get blasted over there, and then they return to their hotel, and
Flaccid and tired.
the parents get a call that they have clients in Alexandria that they need to go see right away.
Yeah.
So they have to.
Refrigeration emergency.
It's a refrigeration emergency. Things are getting warm.
These Otter Pops are not hardening. I've had them in the freezer for a day. We're on our way.
Yeah. So they put on their capes and they head over to Alexandria. They leave Gabe.
Any excuse to get rid of their
Yeah,
kid.
just
Well,
like
they give him the option. You can come with us or you can stay here and hang out with Uncle Ben.
Right.
He's all about it.
yeah. RL takes this opportunity to introduce Uncle Ben as like a really heroic.
There's photos of him in National Geographic.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
He's a big deal.
Yeah.
So Uncle Ben's already in Egypt because he's a scientist and archaeologist, and he's working on uncovering another tomb in this particular pyramid.
He spends every day deep in that pyramid.
Yeah, so he's going to come over and kind of take care of Gabe while his parents are away.
Which is he's all about until he says, well, Sari's there too. Which, of course, because we don't know this, but his, it's not like she can stay with her mom who passed away. And he just goes, barf. And he sits down on the couch and starts pounding his fists until his parents say, like, can you please stop and act like you're not a fucking child?
He's so petulant. He's such child.
Yeah.
But he's too old for that. He's 12. Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to leave. Just don't leave this spot. He'll come here soon and knock on the door. And he's like, I won't leave. I won't even go to the bathroom.
Right, yeah. He tries to be a smart ass, but he looks like a fucking idiot.
Other thing we need to set the tone for with this family is that even though they're all very different, mom and dad seem nice. Dad's a little porker, but that's just very endearing to me.
Yeah.
The only thing I hate about them is that they raised the shittiest son.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben is cool. It's on the mother's side, but there's a just family love for terrible jokes.
Right.
The worst jokes.
Yeah, his dad has a pretty bad.
They have so many bad jokes, and they go through them the entire book.
Oh no, Uncle Ben, doesn't he say like?
They all do.
Why was the mummy like so preoccupied? And it was like he's too wrapped up in his work.
Well,
And then he comes.
when Gabe is complaining and like the mom's like, look, a camel. He's like, I'm not blind.
Yeah.
Then he says, squinting at the pyramid, he looks and says, hey, Dad, do you know how you get down from a camel? Dad says, no. He says, you don't get down from a camel. You get down from a duck.
Right. embarrassingly, that took me a moment to understand because I was like, what? But it makes sense. But it's so fucked up.
I don't want to pull back the magic curtain of this podcast, but Black Friday was a couple days ago. We're recording this on a Sunday. Next podcast comes out tomorrow. It's like, so not, there's time. And I bought a Goose Down comforter on Black Friday online from Kohl's, and all I could think of the entire time was this stupid fucking joke. And it sat with me to the point where I wrote it down, and I'm like, that fucking joke stuck in my head. Because I never say like down, ever.
Right. But when you bought it, you were like, I get down from a duck.
Yeah, now I'm like going to think about camels and shit in my bed all the time. I'm going to have to burn this thing.
Yeah.
Fuck, another reason. Gabe made his way into the real world, and I hate him for it.
He ruined your life.
Okay, so let's move on to this incredible prank. We all know Goosebumps have good pranks.
Yeah.
Do you want to describe this prank, please?
Well, Gabe, I almost called him Evan again.
I'm fighting it too.
Gabe is hanging out in his hotel room because Uncle Ben is supposed to come over. He's expecting Uncle Ben to come by.
But turns out that he got shot outside on his way to Evan, and Evan should have been there to stop it. And he was so upset. And then, I said Evan. His name's Gabe. But the whole joke I was going at is that then Gabe becomes Spider-Man.
Oh, man, we can move on. Ben.
That's all I could think of the whole time. Anyway.
So that's it, I think, right?
That's it.
So let's move on to writing. Yeah. So there's a knock at the door. In comes a mummy. It's not Uncle Ben. It's a mummy. Oh, no. And it turns out that it's Uncle Ben wrapped in gauze. That's it.
This is what I want to ask the reader, the listener. Racially insensitive?
The mummy prank?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
is it?
Here's the thing. Because I was like, did he like walk in the street, like through the streets of Egypt dressed as a mummy?
Right.
And then Sorry at one point, he's like, you should have seen the look on your face. Yeah, the bellhop almost didn't let him into the hotel dressed like that. And I'm like, this fucker was like, let's prank my nephew, dresses like a mummy at home.
Right. Why wouldn't
then walks through Cairo dressed as a mummy.
Yeah, that's problematic. Just because it's... I mean... You're a huge piece of shit if you go there.
Going back, I don't dress like dead Princess Diana and walk through London.
Right. Yeah, or like, somebody from Egypt could come here and like dress as a hamburger and walk through America, right? Like what's like
the
prototypical, or like put on a Donald Trump wig or something, like some hacky shit.
I just feel like that's real weird to the point where it's like a very convincing mummy outfit.
Yeah.
Until he notices those eyes and he's like, those are the eyes of my uncle.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's his cousin, it's Sorry and Ben, and they come into the hotel and
he's scared. He throws his mummy hand at him.
Yeah, Gabe throws his little tantrum because he's a little bitch. He sucks.
Well, no, you got to think about the mummy hand. So Gabe, page 15, I glanced down and realized I had taken the mummy hand out of my jean pocket. It was small, the size of a child's hand. Ooh. A little hand wrapped in papery brown gauze. I had bought it at a garage sale a few years ago, and I'd always carried it around as a good luck charm. The kid who sold it to me called it the Summoner. He said it was used to summon evil spirits or something. I didn't care about that. I just thought it was an outstanding bargain for $2. That won't have anything to do with the plot later, I bet.
He's definitely used that hand to jerk off, right? At 12 through... really like 16. You're the horniest you've ever been.
But a mummy hand?
I mean...
I don't think
he sucks. He could do it.
He does suck. I don't know. Sound off in the comments below.
Yeah. Read this book. I think if you're in his mindset, he would definitely put that mummy hand in the microwave and, and do a little pre-shower activity.
Oh my God. So anyway, they show up, they go, they have a meal. He says, yeah, we got to go into the pyramid because where am I going to leave you kids to go into the pyramid?
Right. Yep. While in the pyramid, they get a little discombobulated. They get split up at one point, but then they get back together.
Sorry scares him. She gets into a mummy case and
right.
spooks him.
I'll bring this up just right now. Why are they called mummy cases?
That's what I was gonna say. Are they called mummy cases? And even in the interview, he called it a mummy case.
Right? You read that, and I was like, wow. Even now, he says mummy case. They're sarcophagi, right?
That's what I thought.
Right. I don't know.
A mummy case.
This bothered. I mean, consistently throughout, they don't say sarcophagus
it's like calling
once.
a cereal box like a cereal holder.
Right. It's crazy. I don't know. Or like like a coffin. You called it like a corpse box or something.
Yeah, but they don't call it sarcophagus once in this book.
No.
They don't call it coffin once in this book. It's always a mummy holder.
Yeah, it's like there's in the George Saunders novel Lincoln in the Bardo, he refers to coffins as sick boxes because it's written from the point of view of basically it's a story told by ghosts and they don't know that they're dead, so they think they'll be nursed back to health. So these aren't coffins. I'm not dead. There's no finality to it. I'm just it's a sick box. I'm getting better.
See, while that's really good, R.L. Stine just didn't have Google.
Right. This is what I'm thinking. Like I can't imagine the same amount of care was taken in this designation. So it's just confusing to me. That's something I didn't like. This is another book I read. I think I've said this like every episode, but before we started this podcast as an adult, I read like 1 through 7 again. And that's what bothered me in my initial read. I was like, why are they mummy cases? So consistently. It's said constantly.
Yeah. So they make the prank. They get in trouble because they left Uncle Ben's side in the pyramid. Then they have to go and hang out at the hotel. They're told not to leave because people were getting sick or they were freaked out. So he has to go back to the pyramid while they're hanging out instead of going to the museum. They decide to go to the museum instead. Yeah.
They say, like, immediately disobey. And it is Sari. Sari constantly wants to disobey her uncle and brings Gabe along.
Yeah.
So they are told to stay in the hotel and they walk to the museum, which is only 2 blocks away.
Not bad.
But they get there, they check out some stuff, and then there's this guy there, Ahmed, who they met in the pyramid and was introduced by their uncle. He works with their uncle.
They always state that he never smiles. He's dressed very stereotypical.
Right.
I don't want to say he dresses Egyptian because it's like what we would expect on TV, like a TV villain.
They say he has like a red bandana and like at one point Gabe says white pajamas, which is problematic.
And he's got like a ponytail down his back and a beard and
a weird mustache. And Gabe says, and I say weird because Gabe says, "Oh, he's weird." Like when they meet him. Yeah. Of course, he turns out to be kind of like a weird guy.
And he loves curses. R.L. Stine. They call him Weird Guy. Page 31. Weird Guy.
So he's in the museum and he says, "Oh, I'm here. Your dad sent me to
Well,
get
he chases them.
He chases them at first. Well, they run away.
They run away from him because he looks scary. He catches him in, like you were saying.
Yeah. And he says, "Come on with me. I'll bring you back to the hotel your dad sent me." So they're a little hesitant, but they get in his car anyway. And they realize he's going the opposite direction from the hotel, which is only 2 blocks away anyway. They could just walk there, which they acknowledge in the book.
Yeah.
So once they realize they're basically being kidnapped, they do get out of the car and they run back to the hotel.
Yeah, which ends up being across the street from when they ran.
Yeah.
Which is confusing. Spatially weird, but that's fine.
Yeah.
They get back to the hotel and then Uncle Ben comes back.
Right. They describe what had happened to them, and he says, "Oh my God, Ahmed, let's find out what happened." And then they go back to the pyramid.
They have to go back to the pyramid because all these people in the hospital he went to visit, something's up, something bad is happening.
Yeah, a few of his workers got really sick. It looks like the description was like they were scared to death almost.
Yeah, which they don't really go into, but they go back. Most of the plot happens because Gabe sucks at tying his shoe.
Yeah.
So the first time he gets lost when they're running away and gets scared, it's because his shoe comes untied, and he says it always comes untied. He's bad at tying his shoe. He double knots it.
Yeah.
Again, once they get into the pyramid, shoe comes untied, goes down to yelling over to his family. They don't stop. They keep running. He runs after them, falls through the floor, slams down in the middle of a mummy room.
Yep. All kinds of mummies in there. Some look old, some look kind of fresher, all in different positions.
They're all standing around a tar pit.
There's a tar pit in the middle. Yep. Sari finds him. She says, like, "Oh, I saw a flashlight moving around in here," and
Yeah.
I thought it was Uncle Ben, but
Uncle Ben gave them all beepers so that they could some sort of geolocational something or other so that they can find their way. His was destroyed. Thank God Sorry came. They discovered it and they're like, "Wow, you're gonna be famous, Gabe, you little whiny bitch." And he's like, "Oh boy." And then they're like, "Well, here comes Uncle Ben." Wrong.
yeah, it's Ahmed.
It's Ahmed.
He's here to kill you.
And this is when he tells you the plot, which is that Ahmed is the ancestor of Priestess Kala.
Yeah.
Who this is the burial
Site
tomb
for, yeah.
Which I don't even think she was actually in that room. I don't think they actually hit Priestess Kala.
They don't talk about her being buried there. It's just miscellaneous mummies.
You know, just mummy A through B.
Yeah,
just the random mummies.
and all their mummy cases.
Yeah, miscellaneous mummies. So he says, and the thing is that there is the curse, and he's warned them about the curse so many times, but he is upholding the curse.
Yeah, the room is not to be disturbed. He has to carry out the quote-unquote curse, which is basically anyone who enters, he's going to murder them and mummify them.
Yes. So he has to pull their brain out their nose and,
Yeah.
Rip their dick off, mail it to their dad. I don't know.
Put garlic in their ass and roast them over a tar pit.
Yeah. So he has a torch and they're like, "Please, Uncle Ben, come here. He's gonna kill us with a knife." Uncle Ben walks in and he's just like, "Why are you doing this?"
Yeah.
And Ahmed instantly just home run swings the torch at his head and fucking kills him.
Uncle Ben tries to be frustratingly reasonable and says, scientist to scientist, let's have a talk, 9 times. And he gets owned.
Have they all gone to elementary school? If someone's just like, "Well, in science, you get punched immediately."
Yeah.
You can ask Neil deGrasse Tyson, or Bill Nye the Science Guy. Anytime he's just like, "Well, science," kick right in the nuts.
Yeah, let's have a science discussion.
Yeah,
and
Nad's gone.
Yeah, he gets dunked on pretty quick. He's hit in the face with a torch and then put into a quote-unquote mummy case.
Yes.
Then Ahmed demands the kids also get in a big old mummy case.
Yeah, but this is a double wide mummy case for a fat mummy. They were like, "This
Right.
one's real big for a big mummy," so they can get them together.
Yeah.
There's bugs and shit. And there's scorpions.
Yeah.
And then they're really scared. They think there's a mummy in there. Turns out there's secret hatches.
Yeah. So Uncle Ben pops in and he's like, "Hey, kids." And it's like,
He's
were
like,
you
"Hey,
unconscious?
I'm not dead." And they're like, "Yeah, there's blood all over your face. Exploded because you got home run batted in the face."
Yeah.
Then they come out and turns out Ahmed was just getting a new torch because he threw the other one onto the tar pit fire to light it up. And he decided that he is going to have to melt these kids alive.
Right. 420 blaze it. So he says, forget the mummification of you kids and Uncle Ben. I'm just going to throw everybody into the tar pit. Realistically, so he's holding a knife and a torch, and Uncle Ben still tries to reason with him.
Yeah.
It is, even though 2 of them are children, it's still 3 against 1. They can wrestle the knife.
I thought about that the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you get stabbed, you still got one kid.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Also, Sorry's real good at Super Nintendo.
She can handle it.
Yeah.
Gabe's played Tetris before.
And apparently, Uncle Ben has an unbreakable skull.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty resilient.
He is.
So they don't get to do this because in their panic, Gabe just sort of unconsciously takes out his little mummy hand, his little jack-off hand, and he holds it high over his head. Nothing happens at first, but then suddenly the mummies around the room seem to come to life and roll toward Ahmed. In about a page and a half, they do lift up Ahmed and they're about to throw him into the tar pit, but Ahmed kind of gets away.
He throws a torch at one, and they're on. All the mummies are team on fire.
Yeah.
Fighting Ahmed.
Right.
Which
Pretty
such a metal
badass.
scene.
Yeah.
I don't remember that from the episode, but
No, I don't.
I want to check that episode out again.
Yeah, we should watch that.
Which, by the way, very important thing. I know we said last time Netflix was supposed to lose Goosebumps. It's back. So
Oh,
we're good.
very
They didn't
good.
lose it. It's still there. He runs away. They all see that, and they're like, "Whoa, that was fucking crazy. Thank God for your mummy hand."
Right.
And he looks at the mummy's hand, and he goes, "Oh, the hand of priestess."
Oh, Ahmed, says that's Kala's hand.
So I don't want to shit on this book because this is probably my favorite so far.
It is the best, I think.
But
out
the
of the 5.
ending is a kid from America buys a mummy's hand from a garage sale
Right.
from another kid,
Right.
then goes to Egypt, and happens that his uncle is hanging out with the same mummy whose
Right.
hand he found.
Yeah. So Here's what I'll say that what I like about this book. And one is the fact that it takes place in Egypt, which is kind of cool for R.L. Stine.
Again, mummies rule.
Yeah. I think that's great because this could have been written off as like a Met trip or something. And there's like a mummy that follows him home or something.
That probably would have been cool too, though.
Yeah.
I'm all about mummies. It could be like, I'm at Dunkin' Donuts and a mummy came out and handed me a donut. And I'd be so pumped.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
But this is much more ambitious and he builds a world and it's effective in a lot of ways. The other thing I like is that the mummy section of this book, where the mummies kind of come to life, is like a page and a half. It's not like overblown. He'll take a page and a half to talk about like the sand or something, you know?
He takes 7 pages to say a kid's thirsty.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I like that. There is like, if we want to give credit to RL, which we often do, even though we kind of throw aspersions at him sometimes.
Well, we love him.
We love him.
It's kids' books. We're not expecting it to be this hardcore canon.
No, yeah. So I think there's subtlety in that the villain is actually this guy, and the mummies play a role. But even after the mummies kind of go back to where they were, Gabe questions like, did I hallucinate this? Was this real? Like, it's sort of illusory the whole time. It's not like a mummy came alive. Like, it's not as corny as many of the books are.
And the cool thing, the subtext is that the curse is way more than what Ahmed has learned from his 4,000 years of heritage. He holds up the hand, and these mummies, who are not 4,000-year-old mummies, some are very recent, he says. So Uncle Ben's not the most modern person to come and find this tomb. He's killed people that have come across there, and they're there. That's those fresh mummies. Yeah. So just that he calls upon the curse and the power of the priestess from her mummy hand brings even these newly dead people. They could just be people from America, people from other countries that have been there, and they come to life too. Yeah. So it delves into this dark magic and this kind of fun mummy story that's not like Scooby-Doo nail on the head mummy.
Yeah, right. And it waits till the very end to reveal the mummy. It doesn't, quote unquote, like show the monster until the end, which is cool.
Well, the very end is bad.
Yeah.
The very end is they go back and then he falls asleep in the hotel and is surprised he does, and they eat breakfast and they hear a knock on the door.
Right.
And they're like, it sounds like a mummy knock.
Yeah, right. And it's just his parents. It's interesting. I made a note that it's notable that this doesn't really end with a cliffhanger. Most of the books do.
End with a bang at all. It just fades out.
Yeah.
Which it didn't need to do that. If it ended in the inside the cave, it would have been awesome.
Yeah. But now it can be, like we said a few times, it can be problematic now that the villain is this guy named Ahmed. Like, the villain is a Muslim man, right? And it's like he's a weirdo and he believes in these ancient, antiquated ideas, and he isn't like civilized. He can't be reasoned with.
And they're even like, I was surprised you don't just speak Arabic. Like, there's stuff they say. It's kind of like,
in in a continent that has been historically colonized by white people, like they're the villains, like historically. But it's easy to say like, this fucking weirdo is like, he's trying to murder us and put us in a mummy case. So it's, I mean,
also that they call it a mummy case is hilarious.
Yeah. So it depends how you look at it, but
so we want to get to some writing.
Yeah, let's talk about.
I went through a lot of my good stuff, but
yeah, well, let's talk about the whatever else you had that was good and bad.
One thing on chapter 2 that made me super nostalgic is that he was trying to play Game Boy while waiting for Uncle Ben, but the light wasn't good, so he couldn't play Tetris. Yeah, and that's pre backlight Game Boy. That like before, when I feel like RLS maybe just like knew, maybe RLS had a Game Boy. Because before he was like, they don't have Nintendo. But like this time, he's got some details that I struggled with as a kid.
At this time, so I could read in the back of this book. So I have the first printing, which is January 1993. And it says, in the About the Author, it says, Bob lives in New York City with his wife, Jane, and 12-year-old son, Matt. Yeah. So Matt's 12, so he's definitely rocking a Game Boy. He's
rocking Nintendos, yeah.
And yeah, you had to have like a Game Boy light that arced over your Game Boy like a book, like a book light.
So that brought me back.
Yeah. The opening line I thought was attention getting, like, it's not great, but I saw the Great Pyramid and got thirsty. It's bad, but it hooks you in a different way.
Well, we hate this kid. We want him to fail, and that's all from the writing, but it's on purpose.
Right.
Also, he's a wimp, and they talk about him multiple times. He goes from being such a jerk to his parents, but once they leave, he's like, what if they didn't make it? What if they're not going to make it here? What if I die? What if I'm stuck in another country I don't know? What if...
Yeah.
And that happens every time he's left alone. He's so fragile.
He is.
I wrote about the writing, too. It's great. Other things, when they go and eat their first meal, they brought bread and green stuff to dip it in, but the kids don't know it's hummus. And because it's first person, all the things that are strange and weird to them, he just describes in strange ways, and in the end they end up ordering American food anyway,
right? Yeah,
which I thought was a cool little detail.
It is. That's true, because I felt at first when I read this that was an unnecessary detail, like, sorry, ordered a fucking Reuben sandwich and I had a hamburger, and it's like, I don't really give a shit what your orders were, but it does show that this world is foreign to them and it makes them nervous and they're going to stick to what they're comfortable with. Or American ignorance, like however you want to read that. Mm-hmm. I like the description of the pyramids when they're inside. On page 26, it says, Uncle Ben led the way, lighting the ground with a bright halogen flashlight. The pyramid floor was soft and sandy. The air was cool and damp. Uncle Ben says the walls are granite. All of the tunnels were made of limestone. The temperature dropped suddenly. The air felt even wetter. And along the way, he describes different colors, the temperature changes, the humidity, the smells. I like all of the, he says it, Gabe a lot of the time says, like, it smells really sour. A better way to say this stuff, whenever I think about sensory detail, in Neil Gaiman's Coraline, which is also a children's book, he says, an acrid tang, like sour milk, is something that he says when Coraline is sort of trudging through her world. And this is reminiscent of that, not quite as good, but there's a lot of that sour tang in the tombs or in the mummy cases or whatever it is.
I liked the writing when it came to just descriptions of the mummies and descriptions of the internal parts of the pyramid.
Yeah.
On page 42, I loved it because I felt like it was it could have been narrated by Vincent Price, where it's like the lid lifted a tiny bit more, and I heard the hissing sound coming from inside the big coffin, like air escaping a new coffin can when you first open it, uttering a low cry, and I took a step back. The lid raised another inch. I took another step back and dropped the flashlight. Like, it's very just play by play. And it's like, I wanted to scream, but I knew it wouldn't be able to make a sound. The lid creaked and opened another inch. Another inch. I've lowered the flashlight to open it, the light quivering with my hand.
Yeah, that's good.
I love that.
Also, while we're there, I want to point out, he says a hushed cry again.
I have a bunch of those in the bad stuff. He said it so many times.
Yeah.
Uttering a hushed cry, he said. Cry out in alarm, he said. It's
a lot.
It's bad. Other stuff I really liked. Jovial Bob. I think this is a really great description of the traffic in the country, which if you've seen on TV, it's just chaos. I don't know how people drive.
Yeah.
We're coming from New Jersey and we're saying that's insane.
Yeah.
It said, drivers here lean on their horns the minute they start up their cars, and they don't stop honking till they arrive at their destination. I thought that was really good.
It's good. It's also a point in the Gabe is a shithead wheel is that he thinks that honking is a custom in Egypt.
Oh,
he makes some comment like, must be a custom here. And it's like, you fucking idiot. It's just traffic. But yeah, there is... I do like that description.
But I have stuff too, like you said, with like the putrid air.
Yeah.
The suspense when he's falling in the pyramid. The creepy realization that they're being kidnapped was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of, you have to relinquish control. There's a lot of, like, Ahmed's in control at several points.
And also, I thought that was important because it's real danger.
Yeah.
Because if as a kid now, like, what are you going to be more afraid of? A mummy coming to life and killing you? Or
somebody stealing you from your parents. Yeah, page 89, there's a good description of, this is what I'm talking about when we talk about Gabe smelling different things. It says, I took another step back. The sour odor seemed to grow stronger, thicker. I held my breath, but the smell was in my nostrils and my mouth. I could taste it. Taste the decay. Taste the 4,000-year-old aroma of death.
It's awesome.
It's cool.
There's so much of that awesome horror writing that's very, like I said, it's like the monologues from old horror movies.
Yeah.
I hear Vincent Price in that terrible. I wish I could do his accent for this.
Right, or him describing Gabe stepping into this scorpion nest.
Oh yeah.
On the bottom of page 91, it says, "In the darkness, groping for the flashlight, I had the feeling that the entire floor had come to life. The floor was moving in waves, rolling and tossing, seething beneath me." Oof. It's good. The use of seething, I think, is impressive for a
very impressive. I have a really good description that I love, but I'm gonna save that for my scariest moment.
Yeah.
So I think that's most of my good stuff.
Same. There's some bad stuff.
Some bad stuff, yeah. The first dad joke about the camel I hated.
Yeah.
A lot of the dad jokes I hated. I hated that he got this good luck charm from a garage sale.
Right.
And it was called the Summoner.
Right, yeah. Little on the nose. Like, ooh, I wonder what role that will play later.
And sometimes he just didn't hit the mark with descriptions of the setting, where in other books it would be normal, but with this one he does such a good job in the pyramid that when he says things like sun hung low like an orange balloon. Yeah. It's just underwhelming.
It falls flat
in comparison, but
yeah. Gabe loves to say things are outstanding. Did you notice this? 6 times. He says that on page 6, that would really be outstanding. Page 20, he says outstanding. 23, 56, 97, like again and again. And this is that disconnect where it's like children don't speak like this. And at this point, per this book from 1993, it says Bob Stein has a 12-year-old. So like, pay attention, dude. Yeah.
Maybe he just had a weird kid.
I mean,
I made grilled cheese. Outstanding, Pop.
Yeah. Cheerio. Yeah, maybe Matt Stein was weird. I don't know. But it's disingenuous. Page 29. There's mostly good description of the pyramid, inside the pyramid, etc. But then there's this moment on page 29, an uncharted section of the pyramid from 4,000 years ago smells like, quote unquote, someone's attic. It's like, do better.
There's a point where they see the mummies and all their hands are outstretched, and he says their hands are outstretched like a Frankenstein monster.
Oh yeah, right. That was pretty stupid, comparing a monster to a monster.
Yeah. Sari says, how awful, when he says, I made that mummy right there, and she goes, oh, how awful.
That's another moment.
Very old lady-ish.
Like, yeah, right. She's 89. Her name is Ruth.
On page 115, they show the child's fear so well. It's awesome. But then they kill it. They're talking about how they're defeated and how they're stuck in the coffin. And Gabe, Sari whispered a few seconds after they closed, I'm frightened. For some reason, her confession made me snicker. She said it was with such surprise, as if being frightened was a startling new experience. I'm frightened. I'm too frightened to be frightened, I whispered back.
Right, yeah.
Who says that?
Yeah, he sucks. Yeah, it's like he's afraid of intimacy, right? That's what's going on there. He hates that she got vulnerable. Page 117, Gabe says, when he's in the coffin, the sarcophagus, waiting to be mummified, he says, I remembered being a mummy 2 Halloweens ago and how the costume unraveled in front of my friends. Little did I know that I'd soon have a mummy costume that would never unravel. It's like,
he's just like, oh, this, if you see, I just wrote boo because I was so angry. So we already told you the end where he holds up his hand and the mummies come to life and stop it. Then they're like, holy shit, did that just happen? Then Uncle Ben turned his gaze on me, and the object I still gripped tightly in front of me. Thanks for the helping hand, Uncle Ben says. Oh. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
That's surprising too because of everything that's happened. So yes. Uncle Ben was agape. The previous page, he was agape in horror at the fact that these mummies were moving, and then he's like, "Oh, that was pretty funny, right, kids?" Yeah. And he'd have to be institutionalized, or he'd be in denial, but he wouldn't make like a corny joke about it.
Like that's the equivalent of just like the mummies don't like dying down and just be like, ah, and he'd just be like, who farted? And they're all like, ah. And they cut to the other scene of them sleeping at home and playing Game Boy together.
Right, it's a screen wipe, and then it's like, yeah, the Family Matters theme plays.
Oh man, I found something I liked. Can we go back for a second? Yeah. I wrote that this Frosted Flakes box embodies what it's like to be a teen. The little Frosted Flakes box had Arabic writing all over it. and Tony the Tiger was saying something in Arabic. I wanted to save it and take it home to show my friends, but I knew Sari would make fun of me if I asked her for it, so I didn't.
Right. Yeah, that's...
What a small detail, but like I remember doing that. There's stuff that you still loved as a 12-year-old that was something, a remnant of, you know, being a kid.
Yeah.
And even though you wanted to show people, and that's cool. Like, I would love to see an Arabic Tony the Tiger right now, like now, because it's interesting, but you have to be guarded because who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, stupid.
Absolutely. Yeah, your goal is to not be ridiculed.
Yeah.
That's number one above all else.
Because they're 12 years old in the 90s, so
it's the worst
anything
time.
Can make them quote unquote gay, you know, like that time, and just someone will come up to you, you'd be like, look at this Tony the Tiger, and they'll be like, yeah, well, your mom's Tony the Tiger,
right?
Then you gotta cry.
Or yeah, if you're like around, I don't know how pervasive this was or how long it lasted, but if you're around like age of 30, everybody around you in middle school said that's so gay like 1,000 times,
to the point I'm watching through The Simpsons and that's a joke at certain points.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'm like right around like 9/11 area, like 2001, probably like 99, 2001. That's a joke that comes out all the time. We're like, don't think I'm gay.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's insane, but
the no homo phase.
Yeah, it's a social commentary, which is we're not about that.
Right.
But
famously, we love Blink-182, but we always talk about the fact that the whole joke of Blink-182 in the late 90s, early 2000s is like, wouldn't it be funny if I was gay?
Well, also, they stopped doing it, which I'm glad to see. I was at a Devils game this week, and we're playing, of course, the Islanders. I'm an Islanders fan, an away team. They always do the kiss cam.
Yeah.
And what they always used to do is find two guys sitting next to each other from the away team and put them up on the kiss cam.
Right. It's like...
And I always tell my buddies that I'm sitting with, if the kiss cam comes on us and we're sitting there, I'm going to kiss you.
Right.
Because they need to know I'm not gay, but they need to know that shit's fucked. And
it is
I
fucked.
need to stand up for this.
Yeah, because this is the premise. It's always like the template is like, this is funny. And it's like, why is it funny, guys?
Which they keep away from sexuality in this, but also when there is some sort of gender differential on there, it's always a very weak masculine character talking to a strong female.
Right.
And the strong female is there, and the main character just can't fathom it.
Yeah.
There's points in this book where he says, well, I need to be the hero.
Yeah, he does.
Why can't I be the hero this time? Meanwhile, he goes to the rope ladder and he's like, I'm tough. I'll go down it first. He touches the hard rope with his soft hands and screams and falls.
Yeah.
He's just like, ouch, and falls down. Like, he's such a wimp.
Yeah, that was a moment in also the writing where it says, the rope wasn't smooth, period. It was coarse.
Which is insane. He's like, in a pyramid and he's so excited. He talks about wanting an Indiana Jones experience, but his soft, shitty dial soap hands can't handle it. His manicured ego is just shit in this, and I hate him for
he's inventing this problem. Like, the problem is him. It's not Sari.
Yeah. She's just strong. She needs to be strong.
Yeah.
Her dad goes below the ground into trapped tombs to the point where he may not make it back and people get lost and die.
Yeah.
And she
lost
doesn't
her
have a
mother.
mother.
Yeah.
She needs to be strong. So,
so she
just
is.
That, why do you want to outlive this person who has so much more strength you'll never get? Fuck you, Gabe.
Fuck you, Gabe.
Fuck you. Hashtag fuck you, Gabe.
And hashtag Team Sorry.
Yeah.
If you think fuck you, Gabe.
Yeah. Fuck you and your Super Nintendo.
Ugh.
Well, I mean, your Nintendo. You're not. You know what? I'll give you a Super Nintendo when you earn one, Gabe.
Yeah.
So I think it's time for that. Our favorite thing.
Let's do it. Spooks and Scares. Best dress. Alternate title.
Alternate title.
Cool. So Spook and Scare. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Page 84 to 85. In the unsteady light, their shadows seemed to reach towards me. Shuddering, I took a step back. I moved the light slowly over the strange, hideous scene. The light burned through the shadows, revealing bandaged arms, torso, legs, covered faces. There were so many of them. It's just the description of all of the mummies. Like, it says it's crammed full of mummies.
Yeah.
And once he's just sitting there, it's really good descriptions. And you only get what the flashlight allows him to see. And I really like that.
Yeah.
And for a book where, I mean, you only get real mummy scares for a page, 2 pages.
Yeah.
So just seeing the mummies was awesome. It's a misdirection, too, because the mummies aren't the villains, really. So.
Yeah, I do like that. I think there's some care in telling that story.
Yes.
Cool. I think on page 108, slash 109. Just what we talked about. I think Uncle Ben getting destroyed is kind of scary.
Oh, it is.
Because he's
That
the
was
only
my second
defense between these kids and Ahmed.
Right here. Uncle Ben gets clobbered. Page.
Boom. It says, without warning, without a word, Ahmed pulled back his arms and, gripping the torch handle with both hands, swung it as hard as he could at Uncle Ben's head. The torch made a loud thonk as it connected with the side of Uncle Ben's face. The orange flames danced up, a swirl of bright color and then shadows. That's kind of nice, too.
It's nice, yeah.
Uncle Ben groaned. His eyes bulged wide with surprise, with pain. The torch hadn't set him aflame, but the blow knocked him out. He slumped to his knees. Then his eyes closed, and he dropped limply to the floor. It's fucked.
That's really fucked.
Your father / your uncle, depending on.
He sounds dead.
Yeah.
Which also says so much when he makes a joke after that. When he's just like, glad we could lend a hand. And it's like, yo, dude, you have such a bad concussion. One of your eyes is almost out of your head.
You have a grade 3 concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so who's your best dressed?
My best dressed, I'm going to do a little kind of different take this time, and I'm going to go to the beginning of chapter 7 when Gabe attempts to describe diversity. It says, Sari and I stood close together, making our way through the crush of people on the sidewalk. Crush of people is kind of nice writing. All kinds of people passed by. There were men in American-style business suits walking alongside men who appeared to be wearing loose-fitting white pajamas. We saw women who would look right at home on any street in America, wearing colorful leggings and stylish skirts and slacks, women in jeans, followed by women in long, flowing black dresses, their faces covered by heavy black veils. "This sure doesn't look like home," I exclaimed. So, I mean, do we need to unpack that, or can it just kind of stand on its own as Gabe? I mean, he's 12, but...
We also don't get any descriptions of people's dress in this entire book.
We really don't.
Other than Ahmed. Because he's different.
Right.
Which is why I gave him best dressed.
Good.
Because he just seems like he's dressed for the occasion.
Yeah.
He's dressed with his history and his people in mind, which apparently is his downfall and why he's terrible. But at the same time, it's like, hey, I dressed him up like this, and I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah. Here's a red bandana. That's cool.
Let's do it. I also loved this idea of Uncle Ben wearing like a beige vest and just looking like real cute.
Yeah.
Because I imagine he was chubby with a beard too, like a little chubby. But
yeah, they said
chubby.
He was a big guy in the beginning. They said he was broad and had a loud voice.
Yeah. I pictured him with like a big beard, and he's like a very smiley uncle. So I'm going to say I'll give him second.
Cool.
All right, alternate title.
I'm thinking kind of a fun one. Sarcophagize, but it's spelled Guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Call Me Mommy.
Call Me Mommy. You always got those that
I have to.
You have to. Yeah.
How about
you? My nephew learns diversity.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And fails.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like this one.
Yeah, this is good. I think this is a 5-star.
We never really rate our... Now that we have 5, we're kind of further ahead. What's your top 3?
Top 3. This is number 1. Basement 2. Dead House 3.
I'm going to go... This is my number 1. Monster Blood's my number 2. And number 3 is probably Dead House.
Cool.
Yeah. Dead House is a solid 3.
It is, yeah.
It's really good.
It's like fine. It's down the middle, but it's not bad.
It's good. So we're going to be hitting you with our next episode that is our holiday episode. That's going to be like end of the year.
Hell yeah.
Also, we just want to thank everybody who has went and reviewed us on iTunes, reviewed us anywhere, and written
that's amazing.
some awesome things. We want to do something we're going to start up now where whoever has given us a review, we're going to describe your Goosebumps death.
Yes, we're going to give you choose your own ending.
Yeah. So we'll be going through, and maybe we'll just break it down. We'll do like 2 people an episode, 3 people an episode. At the end, we'll tell you how you would die on Goosebumps. So
cool. So keep them coming.
Again, thank you, Kyle.
Shout out Kyle. And anybody who wants to get at us, please do on the social medias or via email.
Calling All Creeps Pod, Instagram, Call Creeps Pod, Twitter, callcreepspod@gmail.com if you want to send us an email.
Yep. Cool beans.
Well, I love you.
Love all of you.
Don't get thirsty.
You could die in a desert with your dick in your little mummy hand.
You fucking jerk.
Bye.
Bye.